This episode of The Soulful Stir has been brought to you by Bugg Organics. Bugg Organics is a 100% Black woman-owned apothecary. Bugg Organics offers a host of 100% vegan and organic condition and body oils. Bugg Organics is known for their Tash Tonic stimulating hair growth oil. It is a 100% organic scalp oil that stimulates hair growth follicles as well as soothes the scalp. They also are known for their Mr. Beard Stuff, which is a highly sought after beard oil for the fellas, as well as their Body Slick body oils that comes in 4 different fragrances. Shop with Bugg Organics and check them out online at www.ladybug with 2 G's, so that is LADYBUGG organics.com. Also, all of their socials are Ladybug Organics as well. They have a platform on Instagram as well as Facebook and would love for you to follow as well as shop. You're now tuned in to The Soulful Stir with Tash and Diamond Symoné. Happy Sunday and welcome back to Soulful Stir. It's your girl Tash.
And I'm Diamond Symoné. Tell me something good, Tash.
So as you all are aware, I had to travel to attend yet another funeral for another one of my babies this past weekend. So that's not the good news, but the good news is that on another note, this year, my late niece Raven, she would have turned 25, and the Ray T Beacon of Light Foundation put on its 3rd annual scholarship celebration, which essentially that is where my sister and a few of her closest friends have created a scholarship in my niece's honor for a student at Georgia State, which my sister and myself and my niece and I would have all been, well, my sister and I graduated from Georgia State. My niece would have graduated from Georgia State the year she passed, but she passed 2 months before graduation. So we put on some kind of event every year to raise funds for a scholarship. And this year was our first year having a gala because we wanted something, kind of extravagant to celebrate what would have been her 25th birthday. And it was amazing. It was so good. So I want to shout out to everybody, to my sister, Pamela Elder Mobley, to my brother-in-law, Eric. They single-handedly put a lot of this stuff together. Them they have, quite a few, like a handful of people, like their executive board that help with promotions, planning, and things of that nature. And I want to let not only my sister and my brother, but the entire executive board know, because they actually listen to the podcast. I want them to know that they did an amazing job. It was a wonderful event. Everything about it was perfection. I know my niece was extremely happy with what she saw you all do with the work that was put in this weekend. So that was kind of like the highlight of this past week for me, was attending this gala, just seeing all the people support my niece, support my sister, and our entire family. But it was a blast. I got to spend time with my family. So unfortunately, funerals sometimes have to bring us together, but my entire family was there. We had a blast and it was awesome. So if you guys, are not aware, please follow the Ray T Foundation on Facebook, Instagram. They do a lot of benevolence and giving back in the community, because those are the things that my niece was, pretty much striving to do. She was getting into spiritual mental health awareness and things of that nature before she passed away. So we're just trying to continue her legacy. But when I tell you that gala did something for my mental health, baby, because I was looking good. I was looking so good. My other niece screenshotted my picture and was like, "Why you got your titties out?" Circled my underboob and everything. Like, we had a blast. So that was the highlight of my week. Like, that was something really, really amazing to be a part of. Everybody looked good. It was Black excellence. It was like a blackout theme. So everybody wore all black and it was just put together extremely well. So that was an amazing thing for me. That was a good way to kind of take a break from the heaviness of the grief, in a way that it wasn't just me, it was my entire family. We all got to kind of put our feelings aside for a brief moment. Even though it was sad that my nephew was not there, we still had a blast. I mean, it was an amazing event. So that's my good news. Like, I'm so happy that it all turned out and came together like it should have.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad that you guys had a good time. You were able to honor your niece's legacy in that way. She was such a sweetheart. I only met her one time. Definitely had a light about her that was unmatched, and it was true. So shout out to your family for putting that on and carrying on her legacy in that way. And I'm glad you were able to have those sweet moments in between, having to lay your nephew to rest. I think that's important to be able to have that, considering everything that's been going on. So I'm glad that it was a great turnout. I will share a little something. Well, it's kind of a big deal, I think. But I finally launched the project that I've been working on at my job for the past year. I wrote a proposal for this, and it was just really good to see it come into fruition last week. I presented the wellness room that I've been working on in collaboration with our creative team and our business operations manager. It's kind of but definitely a collaborative effort to bring this wellness space into fruition. But I wrote the proposal for it last year, and it was a little bit of an uphill battle at first, but I finally got the approval for the budget and everything that was needed. And this room also doubles as a space for mothers to be able to nurse and store their milk. So it has a lockable fridge and breast pump cleaning supplies. And it just felt really good to be recognized for the work that I've done to bring this room to fruition, but also to get such great feedback about the space itself, how it looks and how it feels, which is essentially what we really wanted. We wanted the room to feel like a warm hug, and I think we nailed it. So I'm looking forward to see how well utilized this room will be as a space for people to have a soft landing at work when they need to.
Yeah.
Especially for moms to be able to go and retreat and have a safe space for them to feel comfortable while nursing, and also to have a place for storing their milk. I think that's so important, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ways that I'll be able to implement this type of space into organizations and communities moving forward, because I think that organizations are moving towards this way of conducting business, if you will, or supporting their staff. We don't have enough organizations that are currently doing so. So shout out to me.
Yeah,
for bringing this project into fruition, and I just want to see how far I can run with it and really be a vessel for bringing these spaces into other orgs. So yeah, that's
I don't
my
think
news.
people realize how necessary that is, and not only just the need to have it, but to make it a convenient and adequate space. I say that because, unfortunately for me, when I was nursing my son, we didn't have a lactation room. We had one that was in progress, but it wasn't ours. It didn't belong to our office. Our office is in a building, like a high-rise building of other businesses and, government offices and things of that nature. And so the actual building created a nursing room, not my actual job. So there was nothing personal about it. It was just like a room that was pretty much like a dark, cold, uncomfortable room for you to be in. So much so that I preferred to just close the shades in my office and like nurse in my regular office, because my office is on the 21st floor. In order to go to the lactation room, you had to go down to like the 3rd floor. Like that's a whole lot. And not saying that I'm ashamed of being a mom or being a mom that breastfeeds, but I think that's an intimate thing. And I ain't trying to like be walking around with all these breast pumps going from, going 18 floors down to, with milk, and people don't realize what it entails. It's not just I'm pumping and I'm done. I have to be able to wash, all of the pieces to my pump and make sure they're dry so they don't get moldy, because that will harm your baby. Like, it's so much that goes along with it. And it's like, I would have to go from 1 floor all the way down 18 carrying this bag with a breast pump in it, all of this stuff, bags. It was so inconvenient when we have 2 kitchens in my office, like full kitchens with sinks, all this other stuff. And so I just would put a shade down on my office door, lock the door, and put a sign up and be like, nurse, I made like a funny sign and everybody laughed when I was like, oh, I'm milking the cow or something stupid like that. And I put it up, like people would just leave me alone. Like they would not come in my office, knock on the door or anything, because they knew I had set the standard that I need at least 30 minutes to nurse, to pump. And then I could easily, like 2 steps away, go and put the milk in the refrigerator. You know, like I could freeze it at work, and it was convenient. In my office, we just didn't have a nursing room. But the one that they tried to put up for us was like, it was so second rate. I was like, girl, we don't want this. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's like one of the best parts in the process. What was it? One of the best parts in the process for me was truly taking the time to be intentional about the space that we were building. And, you know, so much so that, you know, we went back and forth on color swatches quite a bit, because how do we execute a space that truly does feel like a soft place to land for people, whether they're coming in for wellness, mental health wellness, or they're coming in to have a substantial space to be able to nurse, which I do believe too is an incredibly intimate act. It is a ritual, you know, and I think that a lot of organizations don't take that into consideration. One, because there are not enough people shaking the table about it. Yeah. And 2, because moms have been so rooted in compromise when it comes to returning to work. You know, we're already up against the fact that we're trying to climb the ladder, you know, and you're going up against all the structures in society as it is. But then you add on the fact that you have a child that you just birthed, and now you're trying to manage being at home with a child that may have kept you up until 6 o'clock in the morning. You still got to come to work, and you still have to make sure that that baby is fed. So the least that we can do in organizations is to provide a space that feels adequate and it feels soft enough for a mom to want to nurse, and at the same time be able to reset her mind while she's there and she's engaged in this intimate act of preparing to feed her child. So I think that the intentionality that we put into it was just so rich, and we're really careful about everything. You know, we have sound machines in the room. The lighting is curated and controllable. Yeah. You can control pretty much anything with the remote in the room, which gives a little bit more autonomy to the space and how people want to experience it. We have yoga mats, meditation mats. We also have somatic therapy cards and meditation cards that are specifically designed for mindfulness at work. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I'll point out, I had conversations with people that were telling me, some people from my organization, some people outside of the organization, this was part of my research that I was doing, but they were telling me how they felt having to sometimes go to their car to pump or go to the bathroom to pump.
I've pumped in the car. I have pumped from Troy to Walled Lake. I had like, what do you call those? Like, I forgot what they call them now, but like a wireless kind of pump type of situation. And I had them. I would wear them in my car, like leaving my office to go pick up my son from my auntie house. Like when he would go to my aunt's house, the days I went to the office, I would literally have to ride for 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. And even just, you know, feeling.
And that's dangerous.
It is.
Like,
it is.
If you've never worn a breast pump before, you don't understand the sensation. And to be driving and to feel that, like, if your nipples are engorged, like, it's so much stuff that people don't realize affects your mental health, like about breastfeeding. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's that feeling of inadequacy, and it's that feeling of I gotta be pumping every chance I get to increase my supply. Like, it's so much stuff that goes in your mind that makes you do crazy stuff. Like, I used to pump at so many inconvenient times because I felt like I gotta make this milk come in.
And that's a whole other conversation, because that is a part of that thinking, I feel, is by design. Mothers automatically come out the bat feeling inadequate, feeling like they're not doing enough, you know, for their child, or they're not making enough milk. Yes. And that's part of education that I provide as a doula too, because, honey, you know, you're expecting to be producing all this milk, but your baby actually doesn't need all that milk. your body is tailored to your baby.
Yeah.
So when your baby first arrives, that baby's stomach is only the size of a cherry. How much milk you feel like you're supposed to be pumping within, you know, that time frame, and the more that baby demands, the more that you're going to make. But that is, don't let me get into my doula lactation bag. That's a whole other thing. I'm just really proud about this project, and I felt really good about the feedback that I received just that day after announcing that this is a resource that is available to everyone. So many thank yous came in. Like, this is something that we so well needed in our office. And, you know, just the stories that I heard, you know, which I was sharing, you know, before, people saying that, oh, I had to ask such and such to use their office. And that made them feel, you know, some type of way about having to go to someone humbly and ask, can I use your office so that I can pump to feed my child? You know, now you don't have to do that. And also you have a choice of whether you want, if you are someone with an office.
Yeah, I was
You
about to
may
say,
not
I was
want to pump in
grateful
your
that I had an office.
So that's the idea too. It's the separation of space, you know, that makes a big difference too. Maybe you don't want to pump in your office, you know, where you also are stressed about work oftentimes, you know, or you got all this stuff stacked up, or it just may not feel like a soft enough space for you to want to produce in and pump in. Let me just go ahead and go to the room right upstairs. I can store my milk right there and clean my breast pump before I even leave and be done with it. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to pan out. And, you know, because we just talked all about mental health and wellness.
Speaking of pregnancy and work, baby.
Breastfeeding. I was just going to say that also doubles as our health and wellness, mind, body, and balance segment, because, again, I'm just really searching for ways to make this a thing. This should be the standard. I truly believe that every organization should have a space for people to go and just have a moment, and a space for moms to be able to nurse and have that time to themselves.
I think this is a perfect time to segue into sound check, because listen, speaking of pregnancy, work, and autonomy as a mother, okay, we just gonna dedicate this whole segment to my girl Cardi B, because let me tell you something. Not only first of all, I can't even separate the subjects, like all the things that I could say about Cardi right now, because for one, I've been a diehard Cardi fan since she was on Love and Hip Hop. I love Cardi then because I knew she was special. I loved her on Love and Hip Hop New York, but the way she promoted this album with all the videos of her selling the album on the street, on Canal Street, getting on the train, it felt so genuine. It felt so organic. Even if I didn't like Cardi, that alone would have made me want to hear the album. Yeah. Like, and I would have listened. I haven't listened to it yet because I've been busy, but the little songs and clips that I have heard so far, I've been very impressed by. I will say that. And I've always loved her. But the way she marketed and rolled this out, every chance she got, it was perfect. It was perfection. It was so low cost, so organic, so not campaigny. It was just.
But it's still a way to spark a conversation, right? And to keep people guessing, like, absolutely, you know, what does she have going on? It keeps her being the main topic, right, of discussion, which I thought was genius. And I even saw a video clip of her telling one person, I think they asked her, when you going to the hood? She was like, I'm going to have to move back to the hood if you don't buy this album. Like, I thought that was so funny and just really organic of her to incorporate that. But I did get a chance to listen to the album. I will say that this is a great album. I think that they did a really great job of the collaborations that are presented on the album. It is an album that I feel like you can listen to from start to finish. We get to see even more of Cardi's creativity and her team's creativity on this album, which I really appreciate. And like, as far as the collaborations on the album, she has Lizzo, she has Selena Gomez on her album, which I thought that's just two. Summer Walker's on the album. I think that it's a well-balanced album of collaborations and collabs that we didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And it seems like if you were someone that was just looking at it on paper, I feel like when I was looking at the collaborations, I'm like, what is this gonna sound like? Because you don't think to pair these two artists together necessarily, but they do.
When I realized that she had a feature of Janet
well.
Jackson, I was like, oh, that's a rap, baby. You already sold me right there. Okay,
yeah.
You got Miss Demita Joe. Oh, I'm.
She got a couple. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a couple samples, Janet Jackson samples on that album.
Oh, wow.
As well. Yeah, there's I think 2 songs that sample Janet, but overall, I have no notes. Kalani, I love Kalani. Like, she's amazing artist, amazing performer. That's somebody else we could talk about in another sound check, because I feel like she deserves her own segment. Just watching her rise to fame and everything has been very rewarding. But I listened to the album from top to bottom because I wanted to see, I just wanted to get a idea and be able to appreciate or critique the full body of work. But I like to listen to it from top to bottom the first time, and then I'll go back and listen to it again. Now I can really weave out like what are my favorite tracks and hear some of the stuff that she was saying. But this album is actually the quickest album to go platinum.
I saw that like in 15 hours. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely crazy. But you know what I also love? Like, back to my comment about the autonomy. We could talk about a lot of the high moral ground. We could talk about all that if we want to. Listen, she left that got her somebody else and moved on. And no matter what y'all tried to say about her, no matter what press she's getting, negative or positive, she did not let that get in the way of the quality of this album. She did not let nothing, even when did you see the video of her, like, when they was like, oh, I'm his baby mama too? She was like, oh, girl, I'm his baby mama too. What we gonna do about it? Like, okay, girl.
Yeah, she just,
like I just dropped the album. You're crazy.
Because I also feel like the timing of everything is a surefire way that could have overshadowed the success of this album.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like if that is the case and he has these other women with children, like, I mean, one can only assume that she probably already knew what she was getting into.
Yeah, and she probably don't care. I mean, I ain't trying to be funny, but your baby daddy being a hoe don't hit the same as your husband being one.
You know
what I'm saying? Like, I could be okay if somebody was like, your baby daddy been running around sticking a dick in everybody from the east side to the west side. Okay, that's cool. But my husband, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you kind of at least expect a little nefarious behavior from a baby daddy. But my husband, dog.
The whole bottom line is, like, those are intimate details of their relationship.
Absolutely.
It really has nothing to do with it.
And we don't know none of the truth. Both of them could be lying. Exactly. Everybody could be lying. Okay.
I don't know. We don't know the truth.
That could be Offset, baby.
Listen.
We don't know.
We do not know, like, what the truth is, and it's not up to us. But I'm always grateful to see women like Cardi win.
Absolutely.
I love being able to see her. And listen, one thing about Cardi gonna put some clothes on. Okay, this album aside, Cardi is always gonna be dressed. She can put some clothes on, and I love seeing her out. And she seems like she's in a much better space. I looked at while I listened to her interview on the Breakfast Club too. And even that was cool. It just seemed like, she is really focused, hyper-focused in this season. And I'm just looking forward to the concert because I am heavily considering getting tickets.
I want to so bad. Them tickets so high, but baby, I don't care. Really? They said the pre-sale $600.
You lying.
I wish I was. And I've seen that for multiple cities. Because I'll go to another city quick and go to a concert, but that's crazy.
We'll see, Cardi. The $600, that's pretty high.
But she told y'all she got kids to pay for now.
She does. I understand.
And she still ain't got her money back from Tasha K, so I get it.
She hasn't got her money back from her yet?
No.
I wonder how that works.
I've never read the details of the lawsuit to give my legal expertise on it, but I think it's something like there's a judgment out. Don't get me wrong. But I do remember, people don't know how to keep their mouth closed. So I do remember at one point in time, Tasha K was saying something about how she did something with YouTube or like Patreon where she restructured the paywall where it was going, I don't know, into like a business versus her, because I think the judgment was against her, not like, her business entity. So that's the way I think she was trying to funnel the money to keep it judgment proof. But that only lasts for so long. You know what I'm saying? Especially, like I said, when you run your mouth and you get on your platform and you telling everybody about where you putting your money. So you like, cause that was her way of trying to get back at Cardi, was like, well, she ain't gonna get nothing from me cause I moved the money anyway, or whatever she said. It was something crazy, but it was just like, girlfriend, whatever. But the way they issued that judgment, as long as it's withstanding, which it will withstand for quite some time, any assets that come in her name, they're going to be garnished to start paying Cardi. So she might just be getting a little bit of money here and there off the garnishment. But yeah, essentially that's what's going to happen. It's always going to be there where she's going to have to pay it at some point in time, whether they take it or she just gives it up.
Yeah, I don't know. That is unfortunate in itself, because how do we even end up in this situation where you owe somebody like that?
Because you running your mouth too much. You talking about people. You like, and that's the thing. People, that's another reason why I love Cardi from the beginning. She was very confident, and as much as she was silly and everybody saw her as this ex-stripper and whatever, she handled her business. She sued her for defamation of character. You don't get on there and start talking about somebody with no substantiated proof like that. And Cardi knew to sue her. Like, think about how many other people Tasha K has done that to, and nobody has taken her to court. Cardi was like, not me, baby.
Yeah, but it also sets the tone for how you let people play with you.
Yes.
You see what happened to her. Mess around if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You see what happened to Miss Tasha K. So, again, shout out to Cardi. If you haven't listened to the album yet, I think it's worth a spin. Definitely worth a spin. I see no skips on this album. And again, it's flavors on this album. Like, everything sounds different. She had her song where she went in on Offset about the whole situation. She got I Like Outside.
I like Outside.
Yeah, that's a great song. And I thought it was also smart to put a lot of people didn't like the fact that she put WAP and Up on here because it's been so long.
But they've never made an album. That was after Invasion of Privacy.
But also, those songs were hits.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not sure.
Are they like bonus tracks? Because
no, they're tracks that's on the album. She has 23 tracks. But
that's what I was about to. That was about to be my point. It's like, why y'all mad about 2 songs being added? It's not like she gave us an 8-track album and 2 of them was WAP. You know what I'm saying? Like 23 songs. Okay, you take away 2, it's 21. What is y'all tripping about? That's worse than your girl Kendra from Unknown Caller. It was 16,000 texts sent, but I only sent 15,099 of them. Like, bitch, okay. It's only one difference. Like, it's only 2 songs. And people should be happy. Like, she gave us 21 original tracks. We don't get that from a lot of people anymore. We talked about that. We don't get full-length songs anymore. We don't get full-length albums. People drop an EP style album. They drop something that they call an album that is more reminiscent or more designed like an EP, and they expect us to live off that for a year or 2. At least if she ain't gonna drop no music for a while like she did Invasion of Privacy, at least she gave us 21 tracks.
Yeah, she gave a really nice album. So again, if you haven't had a chance to, go ahead and listen to the album. That could be your weekend getter. It's definitely a nice track. She got something sexy on there. Something that's to make you, put you in your feelings. Something that make you feel like the baddest in the land. Yeah, it's something on there for everybody. So yeah, shout out to Cardi B. This is a Cardi B Stan podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
We love Cardi B.
Well, speaking of Offset and baby daddies and, new men and new women and stuff. We have officially had our first day of fall. So as, they like to say, it's officially cuffing
I don't know if that's a sound effect that really went with that, but I feel like so. And
Well,
if you're,
it might be for some people. This might be
yeah,
their favorite time of year.
it
You
could
know,
be.
I don't know. It's my favorite because I like the weather. I like the fall fashion, but
Yeah,
I
I love
never
the
really,
fall.
you know.
And we are definitely feeling it in Michigan. If
Yes.
you are in Michigan or have friends in Michigan, family in Michigan, yeah, we're starting to feel the fall chill come in. And for me, it's the reminder that winter is right around the corner. But I do love fall season. I love, the coziness of it all.
So speaking of cozy, so do you personally feel like cuffing season is a real thing? Like, do you have experience with cuffing season?
No. No, dear. I don't I mean, I feel like it's a subjective thing. Like if you feel like it's real for you and that's how you choose to operate in life and that works for you, this scheduled way of doing things, then yeah, it could work. But for me, I don't think I've ever had a cuffing season. Yeah, no. But I mean, I also haven't been in many relationships. Couple situationships though. I guess that does that kind of count as like
So that's
cuffing season.
my issue with the whole cuffing season thing. So it's kind of like, I know this is supposed to be like a fall winter thing, but like, what do you do when your your person or whoever you supposed to be cuffing don't make it through the season? Because somebody like me, I'm extremely picky, baby. I run a tight ship over here. It's a strict program. I could be in love with you on Tuesday and you could sneeze 3 times on Wednesday, and on Thursday I could be like, you know what? That was just too much sneezing, and
She
I'll be
not
done.
lying, y'all. I've seen it happen in real time.
And I don't even have the conversation like, I don't even have a conversation. I don't have time to explain to no grown man why this ain't working. Like, because most of the time, you're going to be able to tell and see the energy shift in me anyway. So it's going to be like, if you ain't picked up on them social cues that this ain't working for me, leave me alone. And so it's just one of those things that I don't even like to have a conversation. I just be done with people. So I've never, ever sat back and been like, oh, yeah, I'm going to deal with this person because it's wintertime. And I think the reason why I feel like that personally is because for me, fall and winter equal family. And like, I'm not taking you around my people. Like, once you get to a point, I think I've said this before. If you get to a point where I'm introducing you to my family or you're around my family, just know that you done made it real far. Okay? Because I'm real protective over the people I love. Like, I don't really bring people around people until I can be sure that this is where I'm going with this. And so that whole little cuffing season thing to me is like, I would feel like I have to choose between you and being with my family because we get together for a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Especially during the holidays and Thanksgiving and then my birthday coming up and all the other stuff. And I don't know. Like I'm too particular, I guess, in the people that I like. You could check every box, but if you have one thing wrong, I'll be like, nah, it ain't it. I'm not saying somebody got to be perfect, but you got to be perfect for me. And it's hard to navigate that. Like I don't know. Like I don't think I date well because I'm so picky.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, and I definitely can see how cuffing season aligns with family and this time of year, or why people will feel like this is the perfect time to want to be cuffed, because I feel, and this is getting into like the mental health part of it too. Like I feel like this is a known thing that this time of year, especially if you live in a place where you get all 4 seasons or the climate changes significantly from summertime, it gets really lonely for a lot of people. Lack of sunlight definitely affects us in a different way. And I feel like it's more of that people don't want to admit, that there's a loneliness
That's
that comes
crazy that
with
you even say that, because that was going to be that's one of my questions.
Yeah, I think there's a loneliness that comes with the seasons, and that's why everyone's like, all right, cuffing season, time for me to find a partner for me to spend my time with after you done acted a fool all summer long.
Like
because the sun was shining.
But hold on, because y'all don't understand. I'm over here flabbergasted because I have a list of questions that I was going to ask in the segment. Diamond has no clue what these questions are. We did not discuss it. We very rarely discuss topics and content before. Like, we'll talk about it in the form of like how we're going to flow the episode, but exactly what we're going to say, we don't talk about. And one of the questions that I had was, it literally says, why do you think cuffing season even exists? Is it loneliness, weather, or social pressure? So the fact that you even brought all of that up is wild, because that was literally where I was going with this.
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of both, and then you start seeing it, especially on social media. Social media has made it a bigger thing than it was back in the day. You know, I've heard of cuffing season before we really got into Instagram and Facebook, etc. But you know, now you're seeing it everywhere. You know, you're seeing people. You're actively seeing people get into relationships around this time, and they're cozying up with their partners or spending the holidays with their partners, going to apple orchards, doing all the things, dressing alike. I mean, they do that in the summertime too, but you know, it just seems like more there's more emphasis on it in the fall and winter months. So I think it's a little bit of everything, but definitely loneliness is like at the top. And I think that it's a mental thing. It's a mental health thing. More of us than we like to admit are heavily affected by the lack of sunlight that we get in the fall and winter months. The way that the days change, it gets darker earlier. All of that has effects on your nervous system. But people connection helps to soothe that for many people. Some people need to be by themselves to kind of recalibrate, right? But if you have somebody that's in your space, in your intimate space, that you can cozy up with, be sheer with, it changes the dynamic a little bit. So I feel like that's a thing. Like, I feel like that's a real thing.
Okay, so my last question is, and this is probably a 2-part question, because it's I'm trying to think of my things too. Like, so like, what do you think? Do you think the qualities of what you look for in a partner for cuffing season should be different from what you look for in a regular partner? And how do you ascertain the two? Because for me, it's like I have a long list of things that I expect and I'm looking for in my life partner, obviously, you know, like in the person that I'm going to take serious. But if I were to, and I don't necessarily want to call it like a cuffing season type of situation, because like I said, baby, it might not even last a season over here. It might last 2 weeks.
At least you're honest with yourself, and you know that.
Yes, what I look for in a situationship is going to be different from what I look for in a relationship, because the expectations are different. You know what I'm saying? But does that cause a problem when your potential cuffing season situation or situationship segues into now a real relationship? Like, because I think if the expectations aren't the same, or if the qualities that you look for aren't the same, it's going to be a problem. Because let's be honest, and this ain't just cuffing season, but I don't care what anybody says, I've never seen 2 consenting grown adults ever enter a physical situation. I'm gonna say situation because they go into it saying, oh, I don't want nothing, this is all we want. Somebody of those 2 is going to catch feelings. And so my issue is, how does that segue if I go into this telling you, oh, we just about to be doing this for a little bit of time, and you like, okay, yeah, this cool for me too. A little bit of time is just all we need. And then when I'm like, all right, buddy, your expiration date is here, and you like, but I like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I sit you down and be like, baby, you ain't even my type.
I was just playing.
You just had the goods.
So that's why.
What?
That's one of the downfalls of cuffing season, and it also comes down to intentionality.
Yeah.
What is your intent? And also being honest with people. I think that people get into these situations, and that type of situation, when they're not honest with the other partner. Example, just so we're clear, I'm not intending for this to be a long-term thing. I understand that feelings do happen, right? And if you're spending that much time with someone consistently, and you like them even a little bit, and you're having sex with them, then it is a natural flow for feelings to occur, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if people are going into this honestly and saying like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And if that person, the other partner is saying, okay, like I want to have fun too, and y'all are truly both on the same page, then it could work. But I think that cuffing season is dangerous in that way because it's like a selective time for you to potentially play with somebody and then decide in the summertime that, or even in spring, oh, you know what? This was fun, but like, I don't want to play with people like that. And that's probably why I never had a cuffing season, because I'm a certified lover girl for real.
And so I'm not gonna lie.
And I also
I've
don't
never
play.
went into a situation like that playing with somebody, but I've had to grow older and realize that I have to be self-aware, because I will say this. I have entertained a lot of people, and after the fact, I don't understand why. Like, for example, I have entertained people, and my friends will be like, girl, what are you doing? And I'd be like, no, because it's such and such and such and such. And they'd be like, what are you doing? And then after the fact, I'll be like, I was bored. Like, I didn't even like this person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did I even, Like, everything that's written in my personal constitution about dating, you had the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? But here I am, letting you carry me around the restaurant, show me off and stuff, knowing I'm too good for you. But I be bored. You know what I'm saying? And I have stopped that. Like, I will say that. Like, that don't exist in my world no more. For obviously that has been done with for a long time. But I was there, especially when I lived in Atlanta. Oh my God, it was bad. Like, and I hate to sound crazy when I say this, but it was just so many options. You know what I'm saying? It was like, let me try it out. What was I forgot that song, but they see my song. Baby girl, won't you get with this pimpin'? You know what I'm talking about with Candy. And she used to be like, try it out.
No.
You know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, please, no. Diamond, please.
Not a big Candy fan. Not a big Candy fan.
But yes, yes.
So you decided, you know, there's a lot of options. So why even try to commit to being cuffed? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
because
not
I like consistency, and that's the crazy part. So
you want to play, but you like
consistency. I consider myself a serial monogamous. I can't date multiple people at a time. My attention span is too short. And once I like one person over the other person, I'm naturally going to lean all my energy towards the person I like.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same.
I say I'm a serial monogamous because I will, once again, like somebody on Tuesday. I will like them a lot on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And by Friday, they'll get on my nerves. And I'll stop talking to them altogether. But by next Tuesday, your girl got some new action.
So
okay?
How do you balance that with being in a long-term relationship? Because you talked about some long-term relationships that you have been in. Like, how does that work? Because people gonna get on your nerves regardless.
Well, because
what are they doing different to keep you in a long-term relationship?
It's usually that they don't get on my nerves so much, or it's something that I could overlook. For example, if I'm dating somebody and they have like horrible ideas when it comes to like, you know, how things should be, or like male and female relationships, you know, once they start talking crazy, that's an automatic turn off for me, because I can't change your mindset. But if you're a person that I like and you do everything right, you know what I'm saying, and the inside of your car just be junky, you know what I'm saying, that'll get on my nerves.
Yeah.
But at least you could go get a car wash. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's something that could be quickly changed.
It's something that could be quickly changed. Like, I get on my own nerves. So people gonna get on my nerves. Like, it's gonna happen. So you're absolutely right. It happens. But it just has to be a level of like, I have to see other things, and I have to see certain past certain things. And I think I'm a good judge of character. And I also believe that I trust my intuition. And I will say this, every time I've been in a situation where I've had to just cut somebody off, before I cut them off, something has told me that this ain't what you want to do. Mm. And that I've gone against that, and I kept staying in that situation until they proved me right. And I was like, see, this is why I felt that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have that nudging in your spirit for no reason.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah. And once again, because I'm self-aware, I know when I'm being petty, and I know when it's like, Tosh, this is a red flag. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I know when it's one of those things that it's like, you're just saying this because you either trying to self-sabotage, or you just being petty today, or I know that this is one of those things that, no, girl, you need to go the other way.
Yeah, no, I get that. So bottom line is, I feel like cuffing season comes down to intention, what you really desire out of partnership, or if not at all. It more so, like, for me, I feel like cuffing season, the way that it's been described and praised in society, modern society, I think it's more so for temporary situations, you know, to provide that coziness, to provide that safe space, or maybe it's not even truly a safe space, maybe just a space of temporary comfort, you know. So I think that's the way that I look at cuffing season. And again, that's probably why I never had a cuffing season or felt like I needed to have one, because when I'm dating someone, truly dating somebody, I'm the same way. Like, I don't know if would call myself a serial monogamist, but if I'm dating multiple people and I start to like one person, I feel you on that. Like, I automatically cipher all my attention to that person that I really truly enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what makes the most sense to me. And my attention span is short. I have a hard time responding to text messages from my friends.
Bingo.
And just everyday people. I can't imagine having to keep up with romantic partners in that way and make sure that everybody feels fulfilled when it comes to me allocating my time and communication. That is so much. Yeah. So even when we talk about, like, you know, building a roster, because I see how people are like, okay, it's tryouts. Okay, then you build your roster up until cuffing season. It's a whole system that they have in play that I'm just like,
I ain't got that much time, baby.
I'm not doing all of that.
I ain't doing that. I'm not doing all that planning for no man unless it's George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton.
Okay.
Dead white men. Okay. That's all. I'm only planning if I'm chasing dead white men. That's it. Outside of that, baby, I can't do all of that. Like, I'm not even when I like somebody, the intention, and I think this has happened too since I've gotten older. And I know it's a lot because of the losses that I've taken, because it's been, like, you know, different. But I'm even one of those people now, like, you can't tell me you like me and we exchange phone numbers and you text me a lot on Monday. If you don't text me that much on Tuesday, by Wednesday, if you text me, you're not going to get a reply back. Because where was you at on Tuesday? Like, and I shared a video on my Facebook the other day with this older white guy. He literally held up his phone and timed where he sent this lady a voice note. He was like, hey, babe, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I don't have much time to talk to you today because I'm busy. He's like, but I just want to let you know that I'm thinking about you. Mm-hmm. And he stopped the timer, and he was like, it took 13 seconds to record that. He was like, if somebody wants to, they will. Yeah. You make time for the things you make time for. I tell people all the time, I ain't got time for nothing. I don't have extra time. I make free time for people. I don't have it. There's an hour of the day that I could be doing a lot of stuff. Let's be honest. I'm a lawyer. I'm a licensed realtor. We have this podcast. Though my son isn't physically here, I am still a mom. So I still carve out time to grieve and things throughout the day. I just lost all these family members. I'm arguing with my aunt about who about to be the caretaker for my dad, whether it's going to be me or her, even though I already told her I wasn't going to do it. I have things that I work to do every day, all day, including keeping my mental and physical health together. I have an autoimmune illness. I got stuff going on. If I have all of this stuff on my plate, that means I always have something to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always a time that I could be creating auxiliary content for the podcast. I could be researching for cases at work. I could be listing houses, and I could be doing all kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's always something to do.
If I sit back and talk to you on the phone for 30 minutes, it's because I like you. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to call you later on today, and you tell me, oh, well, I was busy. Oh, okay. And I'm going to put that in my mental Rolodex. And next time I'm busy, instead of saying, let me honor you with 30 seconds of my time to say, hey, how you doing? I see you trying to reach me, but I'm busy. We going to talk later. I'm not going to extend that grace to you later. Because if you want to, you will.
Keep that same energy. Now, I feel that people ask me all the time, like, especially when I was dating, like, well, when are you free? When are you free? I'm never actually free, Bookie.
Plan something and let me decide if I'm free or not.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, like
Plan something.
I don't want to be. I tell people all the time, I don't want to be in a marriage where I'm the only one being intentional about things. I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm the only one being intentional about things. I shouldn't have to say, hey, I want to go to this restaurant next week. I should be able to say, you should be able to be like, babe, I want to take you out next week. Is there any place you want to go? And I can tell you the restaurant. Or if I've already told you, I want you to come home on a random Thursday and say, hey, on Saturday, I want you to look nice, put this dress on, because I'm taking you to this place. Like, I need some intentionality behind it. And I think, once again, back to my initial point about like the expectations, that's the expectation I think you have for somebody you're really dating. I think in that little cuffing season, when you're trying to do this and you keeping things under the radar and y'all just, get y'all little situation going, I don't feel like I can have those type of expectations. And I don't want to be in a situation where I can't expect to be treated how I want to be treated. Because I don't think my expectations or my desires for myself ever change, regardless of what my intention is with a person. I still have the same desires for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be romance. I want to be wine and dine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do nice stuff with me. But if we only in it because we don't want to be lonely this fall,
I think, again,
like, where's the investment in that? Because I'm not even going to want to feel like I can invest my time and be who, like, because like you said,
it's temporary.
Yes. And I am truly a lover girl at heart. Like, I want the random roses. I want, long walks and talks and all. I want that kind of stuff. But I don't want to share intimate parts of me with somebody who ain't going to be here past February.
Yeah, I also feel like, the intentionality and what people are willing to sacrifice and give in situationships decreases tremendously when, in their mind, they're in it temporarily. Like, I'm not trying to catch her for the long haul. Like, I'm just having fun. So it's not impossible, but I feel like it's more unlikely that you will receive the things that you require.
Yeah.
And so,
that's a waste of my time, baby. If I can't get what I want, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. And again, that's
like,
why
I ain't trying to be funny,
that's why knowing your self-worth and being honest is so important, because you got to be willing to tell people, this was cool, or the thought of this is cool, but I'm actually not interested.
Yeah.
And be okay with it, no matter how they look or what kind of tricks they pulling out their bag to try to will you in. If y'all are not on the same page and you know that, you better get going. It's going to be harder later.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So that kind of makes me, I'm glad you ended there, because for our counseling confessions this week, this is a big pickle. So we've just spent a few minutes talking about possible incompatibility and things not going right from a situationship. But what if they are? So I ran across something on social media the other day, and I was like, we got to talk about this. And essentially the post says this: bruh, life is wild. Been messing with this man for 6 months and nobody knew. We kept it quiet, planned a trip together and everything, but the dates landed on the same weekend as our family reunions. He said it was for his grandma. I said mine was for the reunion, so we pushed our trip back. Tell me why I show up to mine and see my man there. Y'all, I was so confused. Whole time we third cousins. His people just moved back to the States, and that's why we ain't never crossed paths before. And the gag is I'm already 2 months pregnant. God, what was the reason? Why did you laugh?
Oh, good God.
So what do you do? What do you do when you're compatible with this person? Y'all, she ain't never said in this post like he didn't want no baby. Y'all apparently living. Y'all good. Everything. Y'all checking the boxes. Y'all going on trips. Y'all vacationing. You pregnant.
This is your man.
This is your man. This your baby father, girl. This is your man.
I pray I never end up in a situation like that. My God, today.
Let me tell you something.
That is very.
That's the
very
scariest
difficult
part about living back in Michigan for me. I know people hear me say 1,000 times, I got a billion cousins. It's a gang of us. My grandfather's sister had 17 kids. my grandfather had brothers that had kids all around. So, and it's funny because my baby daddy used to joke with me, and he used to be like, I just saw so-and-so Powell, which is my family's last name, on Facebook, and my people you may know, is this your cousin? And he would be waiting for me to say no, and I'd be like, yep, that's my cousin. He'd be like, damn, another one? Yes. Like these
Khaled,
are my
one.
ascertainable cousins, same blood relation. They grandmama is my granddaddy older sister. It's so many of us, and it's a fear because my last name isn't Powell. So people be like, oh, you Uncle so-and-so, granddaughter. I'd be like, yeah. And it'd be like, dang. Or we'll be at family functions, and one of my cousins, they'd be like, oh, that's Uncle so-and-so granddaughter. And my cousin be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lived in Atlanta for so long, so much of my family has been estranged and like pushed all around. It's like, what the hell? I had to make sure because ain't no way.
Yeah, this actually reminds me of a situation with two of my cousins who are siblings, and they did not realize that they were in the same high school class together for like first hour.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because they met each other, I'm assuming, when they were young, but they hadn't seen each other in years.
Yeah.
Realize this is your whole brother.
But it's one thing for that to see your brother, but be pregnant.
But this is extreme. The moral side of me is like, you gotta break it off. This is gonna be very expensive therapy to try to recover from, because that's a lot. That's traumatizing. At the same time, it's like nobody is to be held at fault, because how could you have known?
Yeah. How could you have known?
How could you have known that something like this was happening? It's not like y'all knew that you were related and proceeded with the whole situation. But I think that it gets very complicated when a child is involved, and if you bring a kid into the world under those circumstances, you just complicated your bloodline.
Well, so that's my question. So, I'm always a very forward thinker, and I'm like, how do we prevent, or how do we, how do certain stuff, how do we stop this from happening? So it's kind of like, I know back in the day, society has evolved in dating and sex and relationships in a vast way that we grew up knowing it as, or that our parents and grandparents and great grandparents knew it as, and I'm not saying that it was always the case, but most of the time, your granddaddy, your great granddaddy and great grandmama, they was, probably each other's first. They got married, they went down, signed a certificate, and I guess things started getting shifty back then. And then because of, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and how things had went with drugs, sexual revolution, and things of that nature, they started making you get tested to make sure you didn't have like HIV and things of that nature before y'all got married. But what do we do in the case of do we start doing DNA tests? Like, let me make sure y'all don't have the same bloodline, because you'll have a lot of this, where you have now an influx of, I had a baby by somebody, I don't know who the real baby daddy is, or I don't care who the real baby daddy is, and I have this, and I don't know who their siblings are. I had a friend in college who never knew who her dad was. Like, she knew his name. She knew he lived a few cities over, which happened to kind of be in another state, but it was, still very geographically proximate to her where she lived, like close. And so it was like, how does she know? At this point, I still don't think she's ever connected with her father or had like conversations with him, but it's like, how do you know you don't have siblings? And now she's had children. So how do you know your children won't grow up to go to school with one of their cousins, from your sibling that you don't even know you have? It's like, how do we start preventing this when we have marriages and people having babies out of wedlock? You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. And I'm not about to get on no moral high road or soapbox about you should be waiting till you have getting married to have a baby. Like, whatever. Do what you want to with that. It's your coochie. It's your uterus. It's your finances. It ain't my business. I'm going to say this. It's just becoming an issue when we have stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have men out here having kids and not taking care of them and not taking accountability for them, or women getting pregnant by men and not telling them that they're pregnant, because that happens a lot now too. So it's like, how do we keep it tight, and how do we keep a grasp on making sure people ain't out here having babies by their cousins and don't know?
Well, for one, we need more transparency around sex.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
around anatomy and the practices around sex. We need less shame around
Yes,
sex
and more
so that people
realistic
feel
expectations. I'm gonna
more
say
realistic
that.
expectations for real, so that people feel more empowered to have these type of discussions. Because yeah, it's one thing to lay down with somebody and to have sexual relations with them consistently. It's a whole nother ball game when you decide to bring a child into the world with somebody. And it's a whole other ball game when you don't really know that person for real and you've decided to do all the above with
Yeah.
someone that you do not know.
Yep.
And so that's what I feel like, that's part of it. But then the other part is, again, it comes down to honesty and having these conversations, vetting your partners. We talked about that in our last episode or the one
Yeah.
before that,
No.
where
Yeah.
you have to, like, I personally would not want to have a child with somebody that I do not know that well.
Yeah.
Now, it's not, again, it's not up to us, because whatever you decide to do with your body, that's completely your choice. We do believe that. But, you know, for me, I can't see that being a thing because of situations like this, for one. That's just one thing. So yeah, show me your family tree so I can see.
Yeah.
No, but
But
I mean,
what
shoot.
happens? What happens? But see, what happens? See, look, and I be taking a step further. What if this happens? You got a whole family tree, and I'm like, oh, these my cousins, and you like, okay, bet we together. And what if you don't know that family tree is a lie? Cause your granny done lied to your granddaddy about who your real daddy was, and now
Yeah,
you got this whole family tree thinking your mama and your aunts and uncles is really brothers and sisters, and they really not. You know what I'm saying?
I
And you
feel
got a
like,
whole. That's my thing about when there's a lot of deception that we can't correct. We can only do so much going forward.
yeah,
But we can't correct the actions of our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, our aunts and uncles, especially when they're no longer here, to be honest and tell us the truth. Because a lot of in the black community, a lot of our elders and aunts, they pass away before they tell us the truth. We
yeah,
find out this stuff at funerals. We find out this stuff when we start cleaning out houses and reading letters and going through mail.
that's true. And so, because this is something, like, when we talk about deception and lies that have already been cultivated and passed down, and we don't know the truth, then is it really on us to try to figure out what to do? We really, like, I feel like you're pretty fucked, like, in that
And I was about to say, we
situation.
got to sit here and handle it because my mental health would be fucked up if somebody lied to me about who my cousin was and I was pregnant by him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be. And so that's where, again, having honest, responsible conversations around family, around lineage, around who's related to who and what y'all got going on, even down to, are there any mental health issues that run in your family? Because that's important as well. And I feel like those are conversations that are not typically had amongst people when they decide to procreate with somebody.
Yeah.
All of these, like, it just comes down to asking the right questions and having these in-depth conversations about what's really going on. What are we really getting into before we decide to bring a child into this world? Because at that point, you locked in, baby. You locked in whether you like it or not, because that child is your child and you're going to have to deal with the father or mother of that child, you know, forever. Really, you really don't. I look at my parents, and my parents had a good relationship. They had a good co-parenting relationship. But I mean, to the day that my dad transitioned, he and my mom were still, you know, they still had a relationship because I'm the common denominator.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were still in communication with each other. And sometimes it would be about me, but in their case, they were actual friends. So sometimes it's not even about me, but we have a family that's established, you know, whether they were together or not, is my point. So I feel like that's really, really difficult. There's no one fix for this, like no finite way of handling something like that. But I think that at the core, we have to be more responsible as a people when it comes to creating children and manifesting families. And a part of being responsible is getting granular into the details of your partner, what their family structure looks like, what their mental is like, what they desire, moving forward? How is the family structure that they see fit in the future?
Yeah.
All these questions should be being asked. And now this situation is just very wild and unfortunate. I almost feel like, is this even real? But I would assume so, because I feel like there are many stories that are out here that are exactly the same or very similar, and people really didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's very wild to think of, but hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is at that point when you got a family established. Well, that was a good talk.
Yes. So,
Nothing for the sanctuary scoop today. Well, just the usual. I'll take the usual.
make sure you follow us on all platforms.
Yeah. Follow
Rate
on
us, rate us
everything.
on Apple, Spotify, wherever you watch us on a platform. Make sure you leave reviews, comment if you're available to comment, share us as much as you can. Yeah, we appreciate y'all for listening. Thank y'all for sticking in with 26. I was about to say 28, but we will be there soon. We're 26 episodes in, and we couldn't have made it this far without y'all and y'all's feedback. So thank y'all for continuing to listen. And inform others about the podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This has been another episode of The Soulful Stir. Over and out.